Hi everyone, I hope you are doing well. So today we will see how to create this kind of displacement effect with a very nice clay rendering that I created for this project. For this we will see how to create your own seamless texture and how to apply them to a mesh. You can of course find the complete project on Patreon as well as 10 very nice seamless clay textures. Okay, let's start now. Okay, so now we are in Photoshop and what I'm going to do is just to create a new file. Okay, so I can now create my file. I have here my white windows, so here my canvas. What we want to do now is just to find a decent texture on Google. So Google image here, and maybe try clay texture. So I have here a lot of texture. Maybe try this one. The resolution is not very high, but it will be enough for the test. So I will save this file, displacement clay, and save. Okay, so I can go back in Photoshop and I will drag and drop the texture in the canvas. I will just adapt the size of the texture with my canvas like this. Great. I will now go to layer and flatten the image. Okay. And now what we want to do is just to make this texture tileable. So to do that, we will go here in filter, other, and here, offset. So what you have to do is just to set in the horizontal and vertical the half of the resolution that you used. So from it will be 500 by 500. And now I can see here the line of the tiles. Okay, so what we want to do now is just to make this texture as perfect as possible. So I will use here the spot healing brush tool. You can click here and I will try to make this line disappear. Like this. Again. Okay. I can maybe up the size like this. Okay. Okay, so I think it's good for the texture. What we want to do now is to check again if this texture is perfectly tileable. So I will go again in filter and redo the offset. And as you can see here, it's totally perfect. I can redo the effect again. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so now I can say that this texture is perfectly seamless and perfectly tileable. What we want to do now is to create a displacement map for this texture. So I will go here in image, adjustment, and select desaturate. So now we have a black and white texture. Okay, so now I will explain you very quick how the displacement will work. The perfect gray color will have no displacement, the white will create an upward move, and the black a downward move. So what we have to do is go in adjustment here and play with the level to create the look of we want for the texture. We can of course do that after in 3dsmax, but it's always a good thing to already have a really cool texture. So I can adjust here the black for the down and here the white to the up. I will have here in the white displacement to the up and in the black like here displacement to the down. Okay, so I think this texture is good. She's totally tileable. So now what we have to do is save this texture, JPEG, and I can save it here. And now I have my perfect seamless map. We will now move to 3dsmax. Okay, so we are in 3dsmax, and here you can see the model I use for this project. If I launch a render, you can see that I just have my 3D model with a simply clay texture that you can see here. And what we are going to do now is create our displacement effect. So I will select the 3D model, add a Vray displacement mode, and I will just set the amount to 1 for now. I can now relaunch the render, and we see that nothing happened for the moment. It's because we need a map for the displacement. So I will create a new view in the material editor and go to maps, Vray bitmap. I can now drag and drop the map in the text map slot, up a bit the amount, and I will now select a texture for my displacement. Maybe the clay texture 5 here. we can see that it affects our model, but nothing changed because we don't have UVW mapping. To set up this, it's very simple. I will go to Mapping Source, Maps, Vray, and select Vray Triplanar. And we can now see that the displacement works. But we can also see that it's not perfect because the size is way too small at the moment. So I will change it. Maybe 12. And it starts to look very interesting now. You can also play with the frame offset and with the rotation to modify the aspect of the displacement on your mesh. You can adjust the setting as you want. Okay, I think it's cool like that. Don't forget to check Keep Continuity in the displacement setting. It will avoid your render to have holes when creating the displacement. If you want to improve the displacement rendering, you can play with the edge threshold. Generally, I use a value of 4 pixels, which is usually enough. But if the displacement has increased too much the volume of your mesh, you can also lower the shift. Maybe minus 0.7. And you can see that it's already better like that. If I disable the displacement, we can see that we are very close to the original. I think minus 0.9 should be good. Great. Okay, now that it's done, I will show you how to mix the textures to get a totally unique result. What I can do is to add a composite, link the bitmap to the layer 1. Now what I will do is to add a new layer. I will duplicate these two effects, link the second Vray bitmap to the layer 2, and I will now add a new texture. Maybe this one. And of course, don't forget to place the composite in the Vray displacement slot. And now we can see that we have a new render with the new texture of the layer 2. This texture is also very interesting by itself, but what can be interesting to do is to mix the two. You can already change the mode if you want, maybe try with overlay. Yeah, nice. You can also play with the opacity, maybe I will try 40. Okay. You can also adjust the brightness and contrast of the texture with the color correction effect. Here between the composite and the texture. Same for the second. And now I can play with the brightness and contrast to really change the final look. It's up to you to test and try by yourself to see what really works for the effect you want to create. Okay guys, that's it for this tutorial. I hope you've learned a lot of things. You can find this complete project and 10 seamless textures on my Patreon. Don't hesitate to give me a thumb up and to subscribe if you like my work. And you can also follow me on Instagram or Beyond if you want. See you soon for the next tutorial guys. Bye.